Respected dear family members, I was explaining to you about the Puranas. My ultimate aim of explaining the background and the importance and the usefulness of Puranas is to inform you that Puranas are not histories. It should not be justified as the part of incidents or events happened anywhere in India or outside. Puranas are ultimately meant for changing our mind from bad to good, changing our mind from good to better, changing our mind from better nearer to the best. When the mind gets changed, automatically the thoughts will be changing, and when the thoughts become good and better, all our activities and all our actions connected with the thoughts will also become better and it will be improving. As I told you, Asado ma satkamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. From bad to good, from darkness to light, and also from a peaceless, a confusing life to a peaceful life. This is the ultimate aim for which our mind should continuously change. And for changing the mind, the best method for an ordinary man is to listen and make others listen to the good stories. Our 18 Puranas and 18 Upapuranas should be analyzed in that pathway. Every Purana has got hundreds and hundreds of stories, and these stories can also be explained in different ways. One story might have been explained in one Purana in one way. The same story might have been explained in a different way in another Purana. But there need not be any doubt in our mind why the same story is told in two different ways. Because stories can be told in any ways. And stories can be subjected to addition, deletion, modification and correction. And a story can be enriched, and exaggerated words and exaggerated approaches can be incorporated in the stories. And the story can be beautified and it can be nurtured with the additional many facts and many adjectives and many other parameters. Just like the same story can be developed in two different movies. You know, movies are all based on some stories. Same story given to two people. You can see that one person will be making a movie in one's own way. The other person will be making another movie in his own way, depending upon their background. Here too, the Puranas are the aggregate of the stories, and each story ultimately aims at conveying the ultimate procedure and the result and the outcome of a good quality or a bad quality. If an individual has got a good quality, then how he will be living and what will be the method of his life, whatever be the behavioral pattern of his life, and what will be the ultimate output of his life, and till the last breath how this good man will be living. So important thing is that in our movies or ordinary stories or fictions, we can see that the stories go in one pathway, whereas Puranic stories, in Puranic stories, you can see that the life of the players of the stories, Kadapatra. So the players, the characters of the stories, their life experiences are also included in that story. And very important factor you should remember is that among the characters of the stories, they used to discuss each other. They used to take and give advice and guidance among themselves. And these messages are indirectly meant for the readers of the stories. And you can see that the Puranic stories are not merely stories. The Puranic stories are built up with the experiences of the characters in the stories, and also with the hundreds and thousands of messages given in that story. Say for example, you all know Narasimhavadara, and Narasimhavadara story, it is a story. You should remember, you should understand, you should always keep in the mind that The Avadara Narasimha Murti came from a pillar. One Murti or one Narasimha cannot get himself hide in a pillar. So it is a story. The Narasimha Murti came out and the wicked Hiranyakashipu got killed. There the story does not end. That is the importance of Puranic story. Remember that after the death or after the killing of Prahlada's father Hiranyakashipu, Narasimha Murti, the god in half animal shape and half human shape, take Prahlada and put on his lap and start giving continuously the advice of how to live a glorious life. And remember that Hiranyakashipu was a king, and when the kingdom get lost with the king and the king got killed, naturally the chair should be occupied by the son of the king. So Prahlada has to sit in the chair, and Narasimha Murti did not merely killing process was done for his father, but complete guidance for Satyam, Dharmam, Niti, Nyayam and maintaining good qualities are explained by Narasimha Murti to Prahlada, which are applicable for us also. So when we watch a movie, we will be knowing what happened to the villain, we will be knowing what happened to the hero, we will be knowing what happens to the heroine. Whereas in Puranas, there it does not end. In Puranas, so many messages will be pouring out of the stories. So many experiences of the story characters will be flowing, and thus we will be getting the story within which we will be getting experiences of the people, within which we will be getting the experiences of the people who are listening and giving the advices and guidances. Here comes the importance of the stories. And all the good qualities if somebody has got, or all the bad qualities if somebody has got, each good quality bearing individual or each bad quality bearing individual, how he will be living the rest of his life till the last breath, that is explained. In the movie sometimes, if the hero wins the battle, if the hero gets married with the heroine, or if hero becomes successful, or if the hero dies, there ends the story in the movie. Whereas here, sometimes it will not be ending. The hero wins the race, but till the last breath, how the Puranic story based hero lived, how the Puranic story based villain lived till the last breath, and how the supporters lived till their last breath. So co-actors, how they lived till the last breath. Such type of experiences and advices are given in the Puranic stories. So remember that just like you are watching a movie in which you will be watching the positives and the negatives experienced by the hero, there ends the movie. In Puranas, the positives and the negatives experienced by the hero, and positives and negatives experienced by those who supported the hero, and positives and negatives experienced by the hero given by the negatively qualified villain, and what happens to the villain. Not only in this birth, sometimes what happens to the villain in the next birth is also explained in Puranic story. What happens to this hero in this birth, why it happened in this birth, that must also have been explained in the Puranas. So the hero's past birth sometimes comes into play. The villain's past birth also comes to explanation. So past birth, present birth and even future birth becomes part of the Puranic story. So unlike biblical stories, unlike the stories given in Quran, why I am repeatedly telling that many people, particularly Hindus, unknowingly compare many factors present in Puranas as citing or taking the examples of Bible, not Quran. Quran luckily nobody knows it, including Muslims do not know that one. Whereas Bible, some of the Christians know, that too they know in a distorted way. That distorted way of story from Bible is taken for explaining non-distorted Puranic stories. So explain Puranic stories as a story and explain it right from beginning to the end, and explain it scientifically, logically and rationally, and explain every Puranic story right from start to end, taking into consideration each and every points to be mentioned. The good qualities, how the good qualities of the story implemented by the hero, and how much it went, and what was the outcome of implementing the good qualities, and how long he maintained the good qualities, and the good qualities could be maintained up to the last breath of the individual. What happened after his death? These are all explained very systematically in the Puranic stories. Remember that majority of the Purana Parayana Vidagdas, the scholars of Purana, they incorporate unnecessarily large quantities of spirituality in that one. It is not at all necessary. Every story is nothing but a management subject. So look every story as a management subject. A manager, how he should handle his family members, how a manager should handle or deal with his subordinates, how a manager should deal with the superiors, colleagues, friends, relatives, enemies, and how a manager should handle the infrastructure available within his purview. All these things are indirectly, some cases directly explained in every Puranic story. So Puranic story, once you listen, it is not for merely improving your spiritual quality. Spiritual quality is directly linked with your mind. Spiritual qualities are directly linked with your mind. And physical qualities are directly linked with your body. So for improving the mind from bad to good and good to better and better, nearer to the best, and for taking your mind from darkness to light, and taking your mind from a situation where peace is absent and you are moving yourself to a peaceful situation, for which the good and the bad explained in the story, Puranic story, should be taken into consideration. Very systematically it should be analyzed. My request to you is that learn a story by yourself and don't depend upon the so-called scholars. They may be having a narrow vision, narrow viewpoint and a narrow approach for explaining the story, and they always think that Puranic stories are meant for improving your spiritual qualities. Remember that Sri Shuga Brahmarshi, who advised Mahabhagavata to Parikshit Maharajan, he said, Vijnana Vairagya Vivakshaya Vibho Vacho Vibhutir Natu Paramartyam. Every story is told in every Puranic book. It is exclusively for creating a scientific temper, Vijnanam, scientific temper, Vairagyam, a state of mind where bondage is not there, at the same time attachment is there. Never give up your attachment with anything. Be attached with everything, but never get bonded with anything. These are the two words which you should carefully use. Many sannyasis used to say that when there should not be any attachment. Many scholars used to say you should live a detached life. Impossible. You should not follow that message. Detachment means you are keeping away from your wife, keeping away from your children, keeping away from your parents, keeping away from your responsibility, keeping away from your customers, keeping away from the organization. You should keep with them yourself and get yourself attached, but never get yourself bonded. I always used to say, Yajñarthat karmano nyatra logoyam karma bandhanaha. Do your work activity as a mission. Then you will not be repenting about anything. So my advice to each and every one of you, learn minimum 21 stories, like Ambarisha story. Ambarisha was a great king and he used to perform Ekadashi Vrata. And after the Ekadashi Vrata, next day he used to serve food for the poor people. At that time Durvasa Maharshi came and Durvasa told, till my coming over here, you wait, I will take the bath and come. He went for the taking bath with his disciples and came very late. The poor people who were sitting in front of the food, they started eating the food. The Rishi who composed the Veda mantra was a great scholar, was a great Siddha. He got annoyed, he became angry and he started cursing Ambarisha. Finally, Ambarisha never said, never reacted, never did anything bad. He just prayed. Finally, it so happened that when a wheel, a chakram came from Ambarisha and Durvasa had to run to Shivaloka, Kailasa, Brahmaloka, Vishnuluka. Finally, he had to come back and apologize Ambarisha. What the message gives in this one, you may be a scholar, you may be a great man of knowledge, you may be a highly experienced person, but you do not have the permission to lose your temper against a person who is an excellent individual, excellent, good individual. You should not get your temper lost with him. Control your mind. Merely having the knowledge does not mean you can control the mind. Merely becoming a scholar does not mean that you are a great person. Merely composing the Veda mantra does not mean that you will be getting respect from everywhere. You should follow the natural rules and laws. You should look after the merits and demerits and other things connected with other people. You will be respected provided you respect others. If you do not respect others, you will not get the respect back. So give and take respect. When you think that when you are a great man, and others also should think that you are a great man from your behavior, not merely by your telling that I am great. So many messages are there in Ambarisha's story. But if you are telling, if you are explaining only the stories, then there ends everything. Then nothing is conveyed as the message, as the essence, as the fact, as the truth. So remember that. Every story has got a ton message in that one, as the story part and also the experiences of the story characters and also the messages communicated among the characters of the story. Thus you can see that one. Every story is a case study for an MBA. Every story is a case study. Any number of questions can be asked. Any number of answers can be given. Any type of answers can be given. Every part of the story there will be something which will be good for us to learn and to teach. So Puranic stories should be analyzed. In some cases right from beginning to end. In some other cases from the last birth of the character till this birth. In some other cases past, present and future birth of the individuals come into action when you are explaining the stories. Majority, as I used to tell, majority of the Purana, Parayana experts, those who explain the Puranas, they are ordinary people. Some of them might have failed in other area and then they might have entered into the area of explaining the Puranas in the temples for their livelihood. But you who are watching the YouTube, you are intelligent, you have got the qualities, you have got the qualifications to analyze, to understand, to reinterpret and also to do addition, deletion, modification and correction. Then you should learn the story and just listening yourself, analyzing yourself, assimilating yourself and disseminating to others, which by changing its level into 21st century. At the time of writing the Bhagavata Purana, it was about 3000-4000 years ago. The rishis were sitting in front of Sri Shuka Brahmarshi for listening the stories. But now, ultra modern people are sitting in front of you when you explain the Puranic stories. So you should elevate yourself at the level of the listeners and then communicate that one. I correct what I said now. You should elevate yourself to a higher level than the listeners, not even equal to level of the listeners. Then only the knowledge can flow from higher level to lower level. Otherwise, it will become a problem for you. So, my request to you, learn as much stories as possible. Interpret those stories based on the good qualities and the bad qualities, and interpret those stories into the ultimate happenings connected with the good qualities and bad qualities. Then tell the stories to the people, and the listeners should also be informed that they should also spread the stories, so that every listener and every teller, every explaining person will be benefited out of the stories. Thus, Puranic story will get spread. Many of the misunderstanding and superstitions connected with the stories will be vanishing, and entirely novel usage of these Puranic stories will be coming, and our life will become useful for ourselves. Our life will become useful for our family. Our life will become useful for our dharma, culture. Our lives will become useful for the society and also for our nation. Thus, Puranic stories are ultimately meant for changing the mind from bad to good, changing the body from ill health to good health, changing the family environment from rupturing to strengthening, and improving our culture from by discarding the superstitions, and also improving next our society from bad type of life through a strong related family social bondage, and also meant for these stories can be utilized for national integration. So ultimate aim of the story is not merely listening and enjoying, but also understanding and improving. With these words, I will be concluding about the explanation of the Puranas. Next, we will be going to Mahabharata. 1 or 2 or 3 days we will be explaining about Mahabharata, where we have got stories and also we have got experiences of Pandavas and Kauravas, and also those who are connected with Pandavas and Kauravas. How good qualities make them great, how bad qualities make them notorious. What happened to the people who are implementing good qualities and good behavior? What will be happening to the people who are living a bad life, a life with negatives in their day-to-day performances? Thank you very much. My pranams to you.